Today, we bring you an in-depth analysis of recent developments surrounding election integrity and the evolving political landscape in Georgia and across the United States. As tensions rise over election procedures, legal actions, and political narratives, experts and officials are weighing in on what these events mean for democracy and governance. In recent weeks, a significant shift has been observed in the rhetoric surrounding U.S. elections. Former President Donald Trump has publicly called for a fundamental overhaul of the election process, advocating for a federal takeover of voting in more than a dozen states. This call comes amid ongoing claims about the legitimacy of past elections, particularly the 2020 presidential race. During a conversation with podcaster Dan Bonino, himself a former deputy FBI director, Trump suggested that Republicans should push for the federal government to take over election administration in numerous states. Trump emphasized that the Constitution explicitly grants states, not the federal government, the authority to oversee elections. However, he argued that the current system should be restructured to favor centralization. This stance marks a stark departure from long-standing American tradition, which emphasizes state control over elections. Experts argue that such centralization would require constitutional amendments, a process that is complex and unlikely to succeed amid political opposition. Adding fuel to the controversy, last week, the FBI conducted a search of an election office in Fulton County, Georgia. The operation involved seizing ballots from the 2020 election, an act that has sparked widespread speculation and accusations of partisanship. Sources indicate that Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, was present during the operation, and that she was on the phone with President Trump at the time. Gabbard clarified that the president did not issue any direct orders or ask questions during this call, but her presence during the raid has become a focal point in the narrative. Fulton County officials, including the county's chair Rob Pitts, have expressed concern over the handling of election materials. Pitts articulated that the county's elections have been consistently fair and transparent, and he emphasized that the ballots seized were securely stored and accounted for. He voiced suspicion that the raid was politically motivated rather than driven by legitimate investigative needs. Legal experts note that efforts to federalize election processes would face significant constitutional hurdles. The U.S. Constitution assigns election oversight primarily to states, and any attempt to override this would require amendments, a lengthy and politically fraught process. Despite this, political figures and activists continue to push narratives questioning election integrity, often citing unfounded claims about voter fraud and conspiracy theories. Critics argue that these claims undermine public confidence in electoral institutions, which could threaten the stability of American democracy. The Department of Justice has recently intensified efforts to scrutinize voter rolls in several states, including Minnesota. The administration aims to create a comprehensive national voter database, which critics say could lead to increased federal oversight of voting. Meanwhile, former President Trump signed executive orders attempting to impose new voting requirements, such as proof of citizenship and stricter deadlines for ballot submission. Courts have largely blocked these measures, citing violations of existing laws and constitutional principles. Despite setbacks, the administration continues to pursue these policies, raising concerns among election advocates about potential overreach and the erosion of state authority. In Georgia, local officials like Fulton County's Rob Pitts have been vocal about their commitment to election integrity. Pitts pointed out that the county has conducted 17 elections since 2020 without complaints, an achievement that underscores the fairness of their processes. He expressed alarm over the recent FBI search, emphasizing that the ballots and election materials remain secure and that there is no evidence of wrongdoing. Pitts warned that attempts to seize control of local elections could discourage voter participation and erode trust in the democratic process. Pitts also highlighted the importance of vigilance among local officials across the country, warning that political interference threatens the foundational principles of fair elections. As the nation approaches upcoming elections, concerns about election security, political interference, and the legitimacy of voting processes continue to dominate discussions. Experts warn that efforts to centralize control or undermine state authority could have long-term consequences for democracy. Analysts suggest that the current political climate requires increased transparency and bipartisan cooperation to safeguard electoral integrity. They stress that maintaining public confidence in elections is essential for a functioning democracy.